think our next game is going to be Elephantasy, Flipside.
Man, I want pasta.
God, that sounds good.
What's the quickest way to get an enormous amount of pasta into me?
Hold still, I have a cannon.
Huh.
And some mac and cheese? Oh.
Be well, Opal.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Welcome back, Opal. For a poet, you'd think I'd have reading comprehension.
I need to enlarge this game, it's very small. There we go.
You need to enlarge a lot of other things.
Wowzers. Okay.
Whichever one of you said that, get the hell back here.
Sorry, is that an hour-long word ban? What happened?
Jess is what happened.
I didn't even notice that until just now.
Yeah. Jess banned Fior from saying...
Literally what I said when I got back.
What did you say, my love?
I said I remember this, looking at this game.
It looks so cute.
This was done by the people who did that Wizard Turns Into Things game that we played on stream.
Polymeter.
Yeah. I'm liking this a lot because, like, it makes me think of a lot of the isometric ZX Spectrum platformers that I used to play on my brother's Spectrum way back in the day.
Okay, hold up.
Yeah?
Delta, those set of pronouns are used by a lot of other people, and it's not just special to me, it's special to a lot of other people who I am very dear with. I'm gonna ask you to walk that one back and think about what you said. No, I'm not asking you to cut that word band short. But I am looking dead at Delta here and it's like, honey, think about what you said.
I feel like it's more referring to your spicy ones. Because
I mean...
Aren't those the ones that are already banned?
Yes, they are.
And this will do nothing.
I'm in support of banning spice right now, I think. Just
Yeah, an hour-long break from spice sounds good. Sorry, spicy boy, the internet.
All I can say is
here.
There is an issue for someone like me who uses she, her, and its pronouns, and it's you can't really shorten that without it being bad, because I'm either it she or I'm she it, and those are both real bad.
And like the other side of that thing is that joke has been used against me, and it hurt at times. And it's just like, you don't get to say that to me, ever.
The it, she, it? Or...
I think the exact wording was, oh, so you're shit. I'm like, you know, I don't think I like that joke anymore.
I appreciate it as kind of a, the pronouns are a frustrated cowboy.
Yeah, just... You know, that's my feelings on the matter.
Speaking of frustrated cowboy,
hey Gwen,
having a bit of trouble on that.
Gwen, I'm gonna ask you to dial it back. I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't like it.
It's probably some petty bitch bullshit.
Don't
mean,
you start.
Her.
Hey! Be nice!
I am, I don't see what she's saying.
Oh, God.
For my own mental health.
Well... So, Melody, what have you been playing lately on your channel?
Let me check with that. Well, in terms of streams, I did like, Wild Frost, Dead Cells as per usual, but, in terms of, like, YouTube stuff, I did, Interior Worlds, which...
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Bleak Sword DX, which gorgeous game. Not sold on the perspective fully, because it's got like the dioramas.
Oh, right. Ooh, that does sound kind of cute, though.
Oh, it's a
kind of like Fez.
It's not 2.5D kind of like perspectives. It's it's like It's like an isometric diorama. So it's like sometimes you can like miss enemies around stuff if there's like a big tree in front of them or something like that. There are enemies that like come up from underneath you, like because there will be like a rain or like a swamp level. So like they'll come up from the fin or something like that. But so like sometimes you'll be focused on like one enemy and then like a tentacle will come out of like the water and just like smack you, and kind of brutal. But once you do kind of get into like the feel of it, it gets like you can get more used to it, but it's still something where you kind of have to get, it's an acquired taste, I guess.
I mean, that's the same of all art.
Yeah, but it's not something to where you have like a ton of other games that you've played before which acclimate you to it. It's very particular for this one.
Yeah.
So it's more difficult to try getting used to it when it's just one, especially if you do like me and you're playing like 20 different games like in a given month. Like you can't really get zeroed into like each game fundamentally like that.
No, that makes sense.
I've also done the Slayer's X game that Zeke was mentioning.
God, yes.
Having streamed. Like it's a fun game in terms of the gameplay, and it does have some funny jokes, but it's also kind of insufferable. Like, it does have like a very smug attitude to it. Like, especially with like even the title of it, they misspell vengeance on purpose. It's vengeance. It's Slayer's X, Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer, which
Amazing.
I understand it's like a meta joke. Because it's like the game is supposed to be like a 90s game made by a fictional character that he just dug up and is releasing. But it's also just kind of annoying also, because like it does have this like very insincere attitude to it that can be kind of insufferable. It's also like a Jay Tholen joint, who is my arch nemesis.
I don't
Not
know
really.
who that is.
He worked on Hyperspace Outlaw.
Oh yeah.
He's a bit of a creep.
Oh,
but
is he?
Oh no.
What?
In what sense?
Well, kind of a heavy topic.
Save it for another time then. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like off screen.
Yeah, but he's also kind of just one of those like, he's one of those people who will like search for mentions of the game.
Oh god.
And then go out of his way. Like
one of those.
I have a short on Hypnospace Outlaw where I am like, yeah, I think this game, like, it kind of lost me immediately because when you're on like the pause menu, like the start menu actually, if you walk away from it, eventually the game starts like nagging you to like, please come back, play the. But it's like it has this like smug attitude to it, and it's like I forget how it actually like goes exactly because again it's been like a year and a half probably, but I did like a short basically saying like comparing it to like a baby, you have to babysit it, Because like that's how the game kind of is. Like if you walk away from it, it's like, please come back. I need to be played. But like, so I'm like, yeah, the game's kind of like it needs babysitting.
That sounded like it went over well with that person.
And then he like didn't even watch the short, which is only like a 30-second video, because he didn't understand my criticism, which I laid out pretty clearly in it. He thought I was talking about something else entirely. So it's like, then I was just like, yeah, and then I, deleted his comment, and I was like, thanks to J Thalin for commenting and letting me ban him so easily. Thank you. You walked right into that. You're not welcome here. Go away.
I'm unsure if these codes that I've typed in that the computer gave me are part of the intended experience of the game, or if they're just like optional.
Oh, are they actually cheat codes?
Probably cheat codes. Demnos Boeing takeoff. So
I do like built-in cheat codes in games, but I kind of said that before with Control. But
oh god.
I also played Astra in the new Constellation, which is a very cute precision platformer. Like it's gorgeous.
ooh.
So yeah, like lots of cool shit. Friends versus Friends also. That's the last one, and like I'll mention for now, but that game's been popping off really big, and I played it with Dan like a week or so ago, and we had like an absolute blast with it. I kicked his ass in it, to be honest.
Awesome.
Which is very fun. It's his comeuppance for beating me in some other games we've done together. But yeah.
Oh, friend.
Snake friend.
Snake.
Friend?
Who dares to disturb my slumber this time? Some sort of weird creature? You don't seem dead. Are you from the surface? You must not yet understand your situation. This is the underworld, and as for me, I am... Death, ruler of this world. And since you're here, your soul now belongs to me, forever. But you aren't dead yet, are you? Quite the pickle. How about this? Run some errands for me, and I'll return custody of your soul. There's some other lost souls wandering the underworld, 7 to be exact. Send some of them back here, and I'll return your soul. Sounds good?
Creature to creature conversation.
But wait, to get the souls you'll need some extra equipment. Conveniently, I have some handy items stored in this very palace. For each soul that you find, I'll allow you to carry one more item at a time. Think of it as risk management. The more you do for me, the more I'll trust you with. So to sum up, send back lost souls. With each soul I increase your item capacity, eventually return yours. Good? Oh, silly me, you don't have a choice. After all, I own your soul. Have fun! Neat.
Okay, I need to express concern about it's complicated. Fuck it.
Okay. Well, I've reset your counter.
Thank you. But girl's been working on the taillights on a project car of hers, and now has a sunburn so intense that she looks like she's glowing. And I'm over here going, babe, please put on sunscreen.
Yeah.
Worst part is, this is the second person that I know in the same day who is having that same experience. People, please put on sunscreen. Massage it into your skin. Fuck it, I'll take the penalty for the PSA.
God. I'm gonna be spending a lot of time managing your goddamn
You know what? Yeah,
word
sure,
bin.
whatever. It doesn't
Can't
even
help-
matter what skin tone you have. Use sunscreen.
Delicate how your
Mhm.
constitution.
Oh!
Oh!
Teeny!
Small! Small!
Oh,
Can you
Become
do that
me
mid-jump?
baby, are you Henry Mancini? Because you were walking around.
Small's your elephant.
And you're baby elephant.
Okay, I'm gonna take the book with
Sleet.
me.
It was a good joke. Shut up.
It was a good joke. I liked it.
Sleet.
Ooh, there's more though.
That was an amazing joke.
Gonna have knowledge or sack or shoe boots.
Or sack.
Oh.
Oh, Pegasus boots. Hell yeah.
Mhm.
You look so fancy in this.
Mhm.
Press infinity.
People.
Uh-huh. People.
People
Well-
who eat other people
Those are called cannibals.
are the luckiest people.
Ooh, I think I understand what this funny rod's for. If I go here... Oh. Nope, I lied. I don't understand what it's for.
Shit.
I'm a genius. Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Same brain cell. Also, how much of the video game language has been shaped by things like Zelda?
Yeah.
I think it's like
I
what?
mean, quite a lot.
I mean, if you even just looking at like health bars with Zelda, like
Oh yeah.
the hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, Hearts is health.
Like, I don't think it was the original, like, completely in terms of like that basic idea, but in terms of like the style of like the formatting of, you know, having like the hearts in the corner and all that. Like, I think that's a pretty. If Zelda wasn't the original one that did that, it has to be the one that, you know,
Oh my god.
inspired people, like designers.
He did you a teaching.
Inspired.
God, those
I mean-
jumps, that speed.
There has to be a better word for that.
Yeah,
Does it require the
influenced.
There we go.
Influenced
That's the word.
Yeah.
The
Like
little guy
Zelda is
had
also the most
speed
proliferate.
Oh, yeah.
Speed boot.
Prolific?
Prolific.
Thank you. Example of that as a health bar.
Hmm.
Like, the counter example that always comes to mind is Mega Man. Unsurprising. But
hmm
Yippee! Or...
Wow.
Betting it was a
it's
whole
an...
ordeal.
Boo.
Yippee!
Boo.
Also, a joke I wanted to say with like the death that I think mostly just Squeak and maybe some of us, like maybe some people watching may, you know, recognize, but does that not remind you of the worm from Socks from Mail Time?
Yes! Yes!
Mail time.
Oh.
Sock
Wow.
got
That
promoted.
that a video game?
Yes.
What's
Third
the game about?
person. It's a 3D platformer where
Oh,
you deliver mail.
Yeah, I think I watched a little bit of that. Y'all playing that.
Sounds cute.
Yeah, you're right. You mentioned it. I want.
I need to post. I think I have a screenshot of Socks on
Hmm.
Steam. Let me see. I'll post that on the Discord server.
Hell
Yeah.
Interrupt again, Melody. No get sorry. Eat crayon, see color.
yeah.
I love Socks.
Yummy.
Boingy, boingy, boingy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
did I
post that
click
on
on
the
that
Discord
link?
server.
Exclamation point Discord, by the way.
Is it? have a gun? What was that?
I think it had boots.
Is
a
that a
gun
gun
with
with boots?
I think it
It's
was an
Boots'
ant.
gun. The guns of the insect world, I've always said.
A boot gun, if you will.
Today is Saturday in Urivania. Shoot!
Oh.
I see gun, I make dumb joke.
I should post the little thing I made at the library in y'all's Discord.
Oh, absolutely. I'm interested to see what you made.
Mhm.
It was a leather bag making kit.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I
just
sew all the pieces together and then you paint it with like kit pens.
Oh, that is rather pleasant looking. Cute.
Yeah, let me check. Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
the
yeah,
Silent
that's-
Princess flowers from Zelda because I'm a nerd.
Yeah, that's really cute. I also
Okay.
posted the socks, by the way.
Looking at socks, I agree with your analysis. That does look like death in this game.
This is a really pleasant
Oh, yeah.
little game. I like this.
This is
I'm
cute.
just
I
confused
can't say
where
I've
you're supposed to
seen
be going.
a lot of isometric platformers, so this is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Who did
Oh,
we lose?
we lost Melody.
Miss Melody.
Like Melody.
Return!
Come back?
Welcome back.
Whoa.
You're back.
Ah,
Ah,
Ah?
Discord crashed.
Discord crashed.
Oh.
It
Oh.
does tend to do that sometimes, unfortunately.
I don't know what I just got. It's
Excellent.
not a
You got
collectible,
Shmoo,
I guess.
as I like to say, a Shmoo.
Game with 3 tiers of map and an expansive world and puzzle solving. It's Tears of the Kingdom. Oh my god.
Wow. Tears of the Kingdom now featuring Elephant Mario.
Loved how Twitter exploded for that. Like,
I have seen so much Elephant Mario porn.
Ah, furries doing God's work.
Somehow I
Right?
am surprised zero amount.
it's like,
Absolutely.
oh, Mario does it for y'all, huh? Well, alright, I guess,
Bloody
sure.
tricks now. Woohoo!
I mean,
Hey,
there's some folk out there
see
who
them
Mickey
titties.
does it.
I feel like we were having a discussion about this, and fucking Mickey Mouse, fucking Mickey Mouse did come up. Oh, and
Yeah.
also Reset. Yeah.
Listen, no, Elephant
I've
Daisy.
seen some goofy art of the character Goofy.
No.
Some people I follow, there's some art.
There's
Hydrate,
a lot of
'cause you're all
thirsty people
thirsty.
on the internet.
Oh,
Because
yes.
we're all thirsty.
It's
for
really
Goofy.
Goofy doing the Jacko pose. That was like an art meme for a while. And then also Goofy man giving Zagreus a lap dance.
Ah,
With the text, this is a Lil Nas X reference. With the text,
Who
this is a
gave
Lil Nas
who?
X reference.
Oh,
Goofy,
God.
Zagreus from Hades game.
oh god.
Christ.
Needle of Death.
The art is alarmingly good.
Beware.
Okay, link me this art. I
Let
know
me
I'm
go
going to
find
regret
it.
this request.
I mean-
Beware
I know the search terms to find it real
Blur.
fast. So
I
that's
also
just
will say,
Worlds 1.
It's either Beware Bearer for You Shall Make 2 Worlds 1 or 2 Worlds End.
Never. That's it. Oh yeah, Two Worlds End is probably it. Cool.
I'll put it in the shitpost channel because it's a spoiler in case people just don't want to see it. Which is
Wait,
valid.
there's rules
Skip.
against posting
Yeah.
that kind of stuff in that server.
Okay, I'll put it. I'll just DM you then. It is complete. This was streamed on Twitch, so it's like not lewd, but still.
Scared, frightened.
I'm not willing to risk that.
Yeah, valid.
Likewise.
Let me take a quick look at whatever you're doing in our server real quick.
If we're not allowed to play Orc Fuck, then we're not allowed to.
That still messes me up that there's a game named that.
Yeah.
The best game name.
It's also one of the first things that comes up on.
innocent game called Orc Fuck.
And look, I'm not
I don't know
making
what
fun
I
of Orc Fuck
expected.
because I'm here for it. It's just a very funny name.
I honestly don't know what I expected. This is
Orc breeding.
glorious.
It's also one of the top ones. There's one called "He Fucked the Girl Out of Me."
I am
What?
proliferating this cursed image.
Heads down, ass up. That's the way Goofy likes to yuck. Oh no!
Ah.
Oh no!
Oh,
The
Christ.
worst part is the
Wait.
art is good.
The
art
good,
is
but also
really good.
I don't think that's going
It's
into
from
the thing.
Karina from Drawfee, if you're familiar with them.
Oh,
They do
yeah.
art show on YouTube.
you know
I
that
have
tracks.
heard of these people.
Now that you mention it, yeah, that fucking tracks.
Yeah,
Oh, hello.
yeah.
Sleep, where are you hiding?
I'm hiding right here.
Despite being a tenured professor and also a mole, I had no idea what those runes over there say. What a pickle!
Oh,
Oh, I can solve that for you.
my god.
You know what? This was streamed already on the Twitch, yeah?
It is
Yes.
definitely a Drawfee thing.
They did stream it live on Twitch.
Oh no.
When you just
Jax.
hear a muffled from the bedroom.
Oh, drink it in, chat.
Oh,
Sleep, why would you curse us with that?
because
I mean, technically, I did bring it up.
And
I
I
have some
encourage
fault.
this train of thought. I encourage this train of thought.
I already died once on stream, and then my house burned down. Apparently, so I'm allowed to be evil now.
Upon
Welcome
On
to
a
Team
cliff
Evil.
over the sex,
over the
there love two faces, much like me. Smiles.
Upon a cliff over the sea, there
over
lie
the
two
sea, there
faces,
live-
much like me.
I live two faces, much like me.
Are you sure they're not two feces?
I
I'm
hope
hoping
two
it's not two faces. You found two turds.
No. Why is
Well,
everyone
this
in...
goes directly into the shitpost hole.
It's so easy to make you sad, and it's fun, Jax.
Why do you like making me sad?
Because I love you. And I make you happy too, probably.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, true.
You hope.
Oh,
Ah, look at those butts sticking out of the sand. That's
I
fun.
know.
I'm glad I'm not the only one seeing that.
They're butt seeds.
Still don't know
It's a healthy
what
relationship
to write.
Jax, I love you.
I love
Mwah.
you too, my love. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Healthy relationship dynamics are whatever you make of them.
Healthy relationship dynamics is when we were reminiscing about revealing our crushes to each other, and I just started crying.
Wait,
It's
is that a
true.
true story?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
absolutely a true story from like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
Oh my heart.
yeah, we were
Oh,
just
my
kind of
heart.
like, just kind of having a moment where we're like thinking, man, life is good now that we're in each other's lives, and
Yeah.
just like thinking about how we got together and just kind of trying to piece it all back together because it's been a minute. And yeah, it was just nice to think about because we've been very positive for each other. Anyway, watch me
Yeah.
climb this hill.
Yubs, they can't see it, but I think it's important to know that I'm making a little squish face. Aw, face.
Oh,
Oh no.
Oh.
That is a
My
similar
heart.
reaction that we are displaying here on this side of the screen.
Okay. I think... Nope, that's...
There seems to be a
Depth
lot of
perception
talking
is
on the
hard,
window,
as it turns out.
What?
Depth perception is hard, as it turns out.
Yeah, it
True.
sure is.
There are shadows.
There are little
yeah.
shadows.
There are little
I think,
shadows, but they
to
only help
help
so
you.
much.
Ah, shit. Okay. Well, at least
I
it's
guess that's a shortfall of this
What
type
happened
of
to your
genre.
Kazooie jump? I guess that was the accidental cheat code, huh?
Yeah, that
It's
was the
very
cheat...
Marble Madness in both look and weight control.
Oh, yeah,
See,
okay.
so that's right adjacent to you right now, that too high block.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Shit!
Uh-oh.
In which the game's enemy is the perspective.
Yeah.
This is what we call the Archvale theorem.
That's like a block away from me, I think. Nope! Incorrect!
Actually, please explain the Archvale theorem. I am not familiar.
Well, it's basically like if a game that has the perspective of like Gungeon, then also tried to be a precision platformer.
Oh.
And it doesn't really do a lot of the things that could make that work, like having a grid or anything like that, to where you know how far a jump will take you or anything like that.
Yeah, I can see how this is suddenly very difficult.
Yeah, this.
Oh god,
this
because
also,
this game removes the grid.
Yeah.
Oh, that's evil.
Okay, so... Let's see. Because I've tried jumping onto that thing immediately to my right a couple of times, and I've been pranked every time.
Yeah.
You also
So-
don't know how high your jumps take you relative to anything next to you.
Mhm.
Because the
It does
perspective
kind of
is
seem
so
like those
wonky.
shadows are lying.
Yeah.
a little bit.
Because it seems like the snowy one and the one to your right are adjacent to that little block you start on, but they sure don't seem to be.
This
Like, it looks
feels
like I
a
should-
skill
It
test.
seems like you should be able to walk onto that.
Yeah. And I wicked cannot.
Yeah, if you look at the ground, you can see there's like an entire square between you and that one.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's like
Just-
this outcropping, I think.
Yeah, that's like below where you are
Uh,
now.
Okay, that was...
Perspective is weird, y'all.
Yeah.
So another question following the theorem
I'm going
that was
somewhere
being
else.
discussed.
Oh,
Are there
yeah.
examples of that of such hostile design being the positive point of it?
But when you get
Getting
into like
over it with Bennett Foddy.
yeah, like art, like outsider kind of games, like the equivalent of outsider art, you can definitely see that being like a strength where it's like intentionally trying to cause that tension between you and the
Yeah.
game, but
Like, getting over it itself is not necessarily outsider art, but the
Boy,
game...
howdy does that one feel like it.
But the game that it was heavily inspired by, Sexy Hiking, I think was definitely outsider art in its own way.
I'm sorry. What?
Sexy Hiking.
You never
That's a
hiked
game.
and been sexy
It
before?
is.
What is that game about, pray tell?
Hiking while being sexy. I don't see what's so complicated about it.
Title pretty much just bangs in one go, yeah.
Wow.
Is sexy hiking like
This is a
Quap?
big map. This is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy hiking like Quap. I mean, Quap is the sexiest video game.
Oh my god.
This is a huge game. What the fuck?
Well, this game looks fun.
It sure
but
is.
Overwhelming.
It sure is that too.
It is rated T for teen, so I'll post it in the server. Or not in the server, in Twitch chat.
Sexy hiking. Let's see what this is about.
It's by Mark the Furry Mario, is the developer.
Oh.
Actually, there's a question.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh, hang on.
with the acknowledging that there are video games that are outsider art, would it be reasonable to assume then that I Want to Be the Guy is one such game?
I mean, yeah, in terms of... Well, I haven't played it myself, so I can't, like, speak to it.
Like, where do you put the dividing line between, like, outsider art video game and just general indie game?
Outsider, I would say, is, like, intentionally trying to push people away from, like, engaging with it in a certain... in like a, you know, in a direct kind of a direct kind of context, to where it's like, yeah, I'm having fun with this. You wouldn't necessarily say that with something which is an outsider game, in my opinion.
Interesting corollary question. Sorry about the background noise here. It's just also hot, and I'm tired of dealing with the heat. But, corollary question, would you consider then, like, troll Mario Maker levels a form of outsider art?
So I do think that there's a difference between, like, rage games and outsider art, but that's
say,
where
like,
it's...
I'm not sure if it really, like, qualifies as outsider art anymore when it's become, like, an entire genre up in its own.
Yeah, like, rage games, I think, are... I mean, sometimes they do feel like they're designed less for direct enjoyment and more for the enjoyment of, like, the people watching, but also I do know that there are people who, like, enjoy stuff like Jump King or Bread and Fred, for instance, because...
Yeah. I think part of the enjoyment of those kinds of games for me is that it's subverting expectations, and I enjoy it when games do something I'm not expecting, and, like, you know, troll levels and something like Mario Maker do kind of follow that. I don't think that's really outsider art.
You already know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
I think I know what would be the best kind of dividing line between, like, outsider art and, like, a rage game is that the rage game is designed in a way to reinforce intentionally, like, rage, you know, in the player. So there's a cohesion in it. But with outsider art, a lot of the times, outsider art is kind of not really trying to cohere to anything in terms of, like, design necessarily. Like,
and I
the
suppose
incoherence. Oh, sorry.
I agree with these points. I also feel that another point to be made is
Mhm.
like troll levels
Oh, I think I just killed
are
that man.
playing within the rules of the game itself as
Mhm.
commentary.
Ta-da!
Right.
Back.
I'm here again, and I've got a whole bunch of pasta now.
Ah,
Welcome back.
bless
God,
you
it
and
is
your pasta.
pouring
honey.
buckets outside, and I want to open my door and let all that fresh rain air in, but it's also muggy and miserable out there.
Oh no.
Ugh.
Non-existent Pumpkin says, I put it this way yesterday in a Getting Over It stream. Getting Over It is an art game that is partially about rage games, and as a consequence of being an interactive experience is also itself a rage game. Yeah?
That's
Yeah.
that's valid, yeah.
Seems about right.
Where?
Because the other side of it is the unspoken issue of this question is we are trying to create a clear delineation when even
Where
that
there's-
is yeah.
Yeah, like, art. Notorious for being easy to nail down into neat little boxes.
Obviously.
I mean-
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. But like, I will say, in terms of like trying to define a lot of stuff, like in general, I think it's best to kind of go with what feels like it makes the most sense. So it's not like a hard, like if someone wanted to say that, you know, Getting Over It is outsider art, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, you know, based on like the pretexts that I gave in terms of what I think would count. But you can make that kind of point, like you could definitely make arguments in favor of something like that being outsider art. Just like you could make arguments that it's not really a, you know, like some people may, you know, point out that it has like some mechanical similarities to like platforming, but you may also want to argue, say for instance, that it doesn't really cohere to a lot of the, you know, appeals of a platformer. So even things like basic mechanical ideas, like are there platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can argue that games aren't necessarily like platforming or like a first-person shooter or whatever, based on what they're going for. You know, like, is Deus Ex a first-person shooter? Right? Like the original one. Like,
I mean,
that.
I feel like there was a quote specifically from Warren Spector saying if they engage with the game in the, you know, stealth and immersive stim style mechanics, we're fine. If they try and rate us on our shooting gameplay, we're fucked. I'm heavily paraphrasing, obviously, but it was just the effect of, you know, I hope our game is judged on the merits that it actually has, rather than, oh, another first-person shooter.
yeah, like,
Right.
That is
please go
the
ahead.
original Deus Ex made its own weird genre from that.
I mean, I feel like it was playing in an existing space because the immersive sim genre, which is also kind of a bit of a squirrely one, because the way that people define immersive sim tends to be the game is made up of systems that you interact with, and a lot of the gameplay comes out of interactions between those systems. And that's kind of also, like, okay, yeah, that describes a lot of fucking video games.
Yeah, it does.
Because
That does, yeah.
like, by those definitions, Breath of the Wild... Not Breath of the Wild, sorry.
Is the kingdom?
Well, I guess, yeah, Breath of the Wild, and to a greater extent, Tears of the Kingdom, are immersive sims.
Tears of the Kingdom expanded upon those systems massively.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And, like, I don't
guess-
necessarily disagree with the assessment that Tears of the Kingdom has immersive sim elements to it, but it's not typically in the category of games that you think about when you think about immersive sims. Like, immersive
You're not
sims...
necessarily spending time just cooking meat or whatever to
yeah.
feed yourself in that game. It's like it's a part of it, but
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
the big thing for me with an immersive sim is I am given a goal and given pretty free reign to figure out what the hell to do to solve that goal. Like, say, like System Shock 2, the Thief games, all good examples of immersive sims. The original DSX, absolutely a good example of an immersive sim. Human Revolution, less so, I feel like. It felt like a DSX game, but it, on reflection, is not as much of an immersive sim as the original was. It's extremely hard to define on paper, but it's one of the easier to notice at a glance. Yeah.
That's a good
Mhm.
description there, yeah.
Stealth Intel says, describing games is about intent and use of what a person wishes to convey about the game most. To get into the specifics that genre gets into is cereal a soup or is a hot dog a sandwich type of thinking.
Yeah, like
issue
that,
with that's
that's the thing though. Like, an important thing to remember when categorizing like anything, but art in particular, is that like all these categories ultimately only exist in our heads. Like,
Yes.
you set these like you set them by certain criteria, yeah, but like especially with art, that can be difficult to strictly quantify and sometimes just plain impossible.
Yeah,
especially
labels.
given.
Sorry. Oh, I was gonna say, like, labels have their uses in terms of what they have, you know, like what you get out of it. If you're trying to talk about like a wave of games, it makes sense to say this is what makes an immersive sim an immersive sim.
Yeah.
This is what makes a roguelike, etc. It doesn't, like, when you try and get into like the wonky stuff where it's like, is like the equivalent of is cereal a soup, like that's usually just kind of said, you know,
Masturbatory.
like that's, you're not getting much out of saying something like the equivalent of that, right?
Mhm.
Like it's making it easier to understand like trends or anything in design. It's just kind of a gotcha question.
Yeah.
But it, like, again, a lot of this stuff is much easier to quantify when you recognize that genres, labels, and whatnot, they're all subjective. Like, there's not some hard and fast rule with what makes something a thing. Like, you can have very strong opinions about what terms should mean, for sure. Like, I'm very picky with what I call a roguelike, personally. But I also recognize that a lot of that stuff is based on what people make use of it. You know, like what works in terms of having like a conversation about something.
Yeah, like labels are only really useful as long as they actually like carry meaning to whatever party you're talking to.
whether or not you agree that cereal is a soup doesn't change the experience of eating that cereal
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
And
Video
and
game
that gets
genres are like the
interesting.
genders of video games, basically.
And that gets interesting when it comes down to video games, because how do I even phrase this one?
Labels are a tool for communication, not an inherent quality, says
Yeah,
Opal Overture.
exactly.
And yeah, 100%.
That's not what I'm trying to communicate, though.
I know, but it was what Opal was trying to communicate, and
And that is a very fair statement.
Also, what I was trying to communicate.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. I am inviting you on a bit of a walk here.
Oh no, thanks. I got a
Is
sore
it the
tummy.
same walk
I
you took
shouldn't-
me on yesterday, babe?
No.
You got taken on walkies? Oh man.
Unfortunately, only the philosophical kind.
Oh.
Okay, somewhat. But
We're out here doing philosophical walkies.
video games as art is complicated because it is... Okay. We have to take a circuitous route to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Tonka are easy to define here because it is a...
Little truck.
I'm going to bite you so hard I will draw blood. Okay.
Love you, sis.
Anglicized Tonka are easy to define because it is built around the structure inherently.
Mm-hmm.
And that structure is 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 7 syllables. Generally, one wishes to have a word that denotes of the season, of a time of year.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're dealing with literary haiku, which, as far as I understand, just means
I'm going to bite you
do
so
what
hard.
the fuck ever. I think I've already
Like-
told the literary haiku story on stream, so I'm not gonna. But like,
You
That
have,
was last year, yeah.
like... I don't want to talk about that because on that one there is a potentiality that I am missing something, and I don't want to deal with it. But
no, as far as I can tell, it's just a bunch of white folks saying, "Hey, we could do haiku as well, but we don't want to follow the standard form."
but the
Fuck around and call that cool.
But the other side of that thing is a haiku and a tonka are two different types of poetry. A espinella is a different kind of poem already. It is, good heavens, 10 lines, 8 syllables each, rhyming a very specific rhyming scheme that I cannot remember off the top of my head here. So I'm going to refuse.
Fair enough.
But there are specific rules to that. Video games, much like movies, especially movies at the start of film and everything here, are still having the book written. How do I put that even further?
No.
Am I making sense?
Maybe, but I have been running into a wall quite a bit, so my thoughts are scrambled.
Melody, am I making sense?
My thoughts are also scrambled right now.
Yay! Yippee! Persistence paid off.
We are
So-
in a shared experience, slightly.
Oh,
That's fair. But... Oh, heaven.
so you're saying movies are still kind of having the book written?
Video games more so than movies.
And when you say the book here, you are basically referring to how they
Convention.
work. Yeah.
Yes. It's also worth noting that all art is in a constant self-evolution, where these books are being written, remixed, and refurbished time and time again.
Yeah.
Genre has use, but as a lens. And that's a very safe way of saying it. But it is the way I agree with that. Which, sad to say, I don't have that hot of takes on art. I mean, somewhat.
I need to know what the fuck that guy was saying.
My hot take on art is gore grind is the only genre. Discuss.
I am not familiar with that genre.
I have a recommendation from Bandcamp to share on the server.
Type of metal?
So, I must say, this is not to be listened to like music, necessarily. I'm about to share it on the server.
Oh boy.
It'll be in the music chat, naturally.
How should one listen to such music?
I would listen to it more as, comedy, I suppose,
Oh.
in this case.
Metal comedy.
Interesting.
This is Gore Grind, by the way.
Hi, Gore Grind.
Hi, Gore Grind.
Now, I had a very good time with this because it does have song titles such as Cum 41, Foot Job Fatality, Cowabunghole, and Shane Dawson's Final Judgment.
Christ. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick BRBS in just a moment.
Alrighty. I am not
Like-
going to find my way back to that guy that I wanted to speak to, am I?
Nope.
This is the minute experience
Oh,
right now.
Okay, so the last thing is, don't you agree?
Sometimes it's nice to just take some time to relax. Don't you agree?
Yes.
I very much enjoy this spot. You may relax here with me if you would like.
Friend.
Ashen stone.
One of the dumber but easier
Well,
examples
that
of
is a
use
very good example.
of lenses in the video games is like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is a genuinely pretty good racer and contraption building game, but through the lens of a Banjo-Kazooie game it's bordering on insulting. Yeah, kinda. Like, I will go to bat for Nuts and Bolts, and honestly I feel kind of like Tears of the Kingdom's mechanics have kind of vindicated Nuts and Bolts' vehicle building also. Because I had a shit ton of fun with that game. I did not have fun with it on the game's terms, for the most part. Like, I did not enjoy Nuts and Bolts as a Banjo-Kazooie game because it was something very different. But there's now kind of a whole genre of... Oh, really? Okay. I think so.
That's a first.
Yeah. There's kind of just a whole genre of games now that essentially take Nuts and Bolts' core mechanics and just do that. Like, Trailmakers is one of them.
Terratech.
Yep, exactly. Of course, Tears of the Kingdom. Like, Besiege, yep.
Besiege, yeah.
Like, I don't think there was anything quite like Nuts and Bolts at the time that it came out. And I really got into the contraption making. Like, I enjoyed figuring out various things that you could do with the parts that weren't necessarily prescribed by the game, but due to the way that they were implemented, you could just use them like that. Like, there was a
emerging gameplay.
Yeah, there's a tow hitch part that you could use as like a hinge. I used it to build a catapult contraption because I was able to just take a couple of those hinges, stick them on either side of a lever arm catapult, and use them to, you know, make the catapult go spinny.
Oh.
Jack jumped down the hole.
I sure did.
Twice.
I didn't find anything cool down there, which is a shame.
That was a whole ordeal.
I feel like I'm gonna have one of those later.
An ordeal?
I wasn't going there,
A whole
but
ordeal.
you took it there.
So bad at engineering stuff, I end up making things explode. That's okay. Oh, herbs found in this world, like that blue one growing over there, have many different effects when you eat them. For instance, blue herbs always make me feel jumpy. Put a spring in my step, you know? I'll be able to collect and use them with a herb bag like the one in the palace. Oh! Oh, okay. Immersion gameplay is great unless you're Nintendo, in which case you hate nothing more.
I suppose that's also why...
Okay, I'm gonna go and get the boots and do that wall jump, because I want to.
Non-existing Pumpkin, are you aware of the Magic the Gathering format called Dan Dan?
I'm not aware of that, so I'm interested.
Only 2 people are allowed to play. They have to be named Dan.
So Dan Dan is a card. It is a single card, and it is one of the worst cards ever printed.
Uh-huh. Tell me more.
One moment, I haven't reviewed the rules in a long time. But the basics are...
Oh, the rules of Dan Dan, not the rules of our server. Right, yes.
Oh, no. Good heavens, this isn't Strip Magic the Gathering.
Ah.
So, Dan Dan is a 2-player game where both people play from the same deck.
Oh.
There are 10 Dan Dans, 8 memory lapses, in like the most basic form of this here, okay?
Uh-huh.
Now, Dan Dan...
Maybe.
Of course. Now, Dan Dan is a blue fish creature. That is a 4/1. Dan Dan can't attack unless defending player controls an island. When you control no islands, sacrifice Dan Dan.
Uh-huh.
Now, what's interesting about this format is because you are both playing from the same deck, you have this X amount of information available to you. Now, the card Memory Lapse is a counterspell. It is 1 blue. Counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, put said spell on top of its owner's library instead of into the player's graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Someone plays a Dan Dan, I play Memory Lapse, that is now my Dan Dan.
Oh.
I play that Dan Dan. You both have 20 life, so it is a game of trying to outthink your opponent.
Huh.
There are other forms of Dan Dan that would have like 10 Dan Dan, 2 diminishing returns. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her library. You exile the top 10 cards of the library. Then each player draws up to 7 cards. On top of this, there is Mystic Retrieval. This is like the most popular variant of it. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Excellent question, because you're running islands.
Huh.
And you are trying to control how the stack of cards works. So you can screw your opponent out of getting Dan Dan. And the best way I can describe this format is a duel between you and someone else where you are trying to beat the shit out of each other with a single dumb fish. Yes, extreme card counting.
Oh boy.
It's a trip of a game, and it is one of those skill test formats of Magic the Gathering that I love to watch, but I am certain I would have the shit beat out of me with the fish. Oh, so Dan Dan is the card. The format is actually called Forgetful Fish.
Oh.
Wow.
But this is like the argument for emergent gameplay. You get different formats, and Commander in its own right started off as its own form of emergent gameplay. Different rules for deck building, different rules for this, that, and the other. But I appreciate weirdness like that.
Okay, I think I'm about done and ready to move on to something else. I also feel like I need to hit the bathroom real quick. All that pilk is starting to filter through.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Howdy.
Well, howdy everybody. Plum Chutney. It's your
happening.
old pal. Sleep.
So the conversation has moved on,
I
but
guess.
roguelike versus roguelite is one of those genre things that would be fixed if we just change the term for roguelite to not be one letter away.
People have tried doing that, and all they can come up with is bad terms for it. Like, people have tried doing traditional roguelike, which
That just
doesn't
sounds
really...
clunky.
That doesn't mean anything, too. Like, is it only games that are, like, rogue? Like, literally just, like, the original rogue? Instead of games which, build upon its mechanics? Is Zangband not a traditional roguelike in that sense? Because it's not exactly rogue? Is Adom not? People have tried doing a procedural death dungeon or something like that, but it's like a 4-word phrase, and they're all like 20 like syllables, or 20 letters, I think. Let me see what the actual term was. It was like procedural death dungeon or something like that.
Procedural death dungeon? Wait,
Yeah.
is that a term for genre, or is that a game?
Oh, procedural death labyrinth. That's what people are trying to call it. People are also saying roguelike, which is just bad.
Those are both just horrible mouthfuls.
That's terrible.
Like, roguelite is the best one people have come up with by a head and a hair, because not only is it not a mouthful, like, it conveys that it is light elements of rogue. Way better than roguelike or procedural death dungeon. Like, that's not a very good term. And traditional roguelike, again, doesn't really convey anything. So it's like, it's also like the Metroidvania thing where it's like,
Oh no.
if you're going to try and say that a term needs to change, you have to have a better one. Like, and people haven't, come up with a better one to replace roguelite. Roguelite is the best one easily, I would say.
That's a fair analysis. Like, words have meaning. Words need to mean things.
Yeah, like, you can still have, like, you can still say, like, you can still have arguments over, like, or not necessarily arguments, but, like, discussions over, because it doesn't have to be as confrontational as, like, a debate or something like that, but,
I would
like,
argue arguments aren't confrontational when done
Not
correctly, but that's a
necessarily.
different thing.
Yeah, but it can kind of have that connotation. But,
Yeah.
I would say, like, you could still have, like, conversations about like, Sleets mentioned this before, is Caves of Cud, a roguelike. Because it kind of does a lot of its own thing.
Mhm.
But the bare bones mechanics of it are, pretty clearly, an evolution on a roguelike. But then you've also got, like games like ADOM, which, doesn't do some things that, like Rogue, NetHack, Angband did.
Several people are looking for a Dom.
I just
I'm
wanna...
sorry, the pun was there. I had to snatch out.
No longer do I need to. But...
I just want to chime in and say that I've been kicking about with gaming for long enough that I remember when first-person shooters were called Doom clones. So,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, like, people came up with a better term than Doom clone. But then again, like, some games are kind of just better, like, described as a Doom clone. Like, Duke Nukem, Shadow Warrior, like, that's a better term for some stuff like that. Like, from the initial wave of them.
Yeah.
Than...
So,
Because first-person shooter means so much. Like, Crysis is nothing like Doom.
It's true.
a question on that. What's your thoughts on the term boomer shooter?
I love boomer shooter because it's so personal. Like, it functions on, like, multiple levels because it's like it conveys that it's like an old style of design for it, but it also is just kind of fun to say because boomer shooter flows rhythmically, and also boomer, it conveys that, like, there's high action, high octane, like, combat. I love that. But you still wouldn't say that, like, Dusk is you wouldn't say Dusk is a Doom clone or Ultra Kill is a Doom clone, right? But, like, boomer shooter fits onto those pretty well. Like, Quake kind of killed Doom clone, if, like, spiritually,
Absolutely.
I guess, because it's like, how do you say that Quake is, like,
Hey, Julie.
just like
Julie.
Doom?
Yeah. Okay.
To define boomer shooter for Nambra's sake,